All right, I don't actually know how the recording on this one is working, but I'm hoping that I'm recorded. All right, I'm going to turn off the music now. I do not have tech help today, so I hope that you will all bear with me as I try to do all the things. But welcome, everyone. We are so glad to have you all here. This is one of my favorite Skillet topics, which is our alumni panel. The schedule today will be that our four esteemed panelists will introduce themselves and get a little bit of their background. Then I will ask them some questions, and then we will open it up for everyone to ask them some questions. So it's always super great to have alumni here with us. So I would like to ask, let's see, I'm going to do the spotlight real quick. Give me 1 second. Right. All right. And I'll put myself. Okay, there we go. So wonderful panelists, if you could get started by each of you introducing yourself, sharing when you were at Code the Dream, what class you participated in, and what your tech stack is, and then your current company and your role, when you began working there, and just tell us a little bit about your journey to where you are. And let's start off with Danielle, since you're first on my screen.
Oh gosh, I'm like already starting to forget when I started Code the Dream, since it's been a minute. But hello everyone, my name is Danielle and I'm currently an associate software developer working at SAS, and I can't remember the exact year I started Code the Dream because, like I said, it's been a minute. But I first started with their React class. It was definitely a couple years ago now. I'm gonna guess 2-ish, but sorry, my brain is like gone. And then I was an apprentice. And I think that's it. Oh, and I'm front end. Sorry.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got into tech, Danielle.
So I actually went to school for something totally different. I'll try to keep it short. So I first was introduced, I did take a front end class at school where we had to make a website, and it was like very basic. So that was when I first got into tech, but then I completely went a different route and went into events. But then, 2020 happened and all that. So I was trying to figure out what I could do to support myself financially. And I remembered that tech class that I did. And so I thought that it would be something I'm interested in and also would be able to support myself. And that's when I started to look into boot camps and like my own self journey on YouTube and everything.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we're so fortunate to have had you at Code the Dream. Vaidehi is next on my screen. Can you introduce yourself, Vaidehi?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Vaidehi. I am an CTD alumni, and currently I'm also working in SAS at Cariny as associate software developer. I originally come from India, and I had a background in finance and accounting, and I worked there for 5 years. And then I moved to US, and I was like a stay-home mother for a long period of time. When actually, but during that period, I was still very active with the school board, and everything related to school. And during that period, I got the opportunity to build our school's website. So that was my first introduction to coding and like, yeah, like website development or IT. And prior to that, I never thought that I will ever restart my career or like, reestablish myself in IT. But that website, when I was developing it, it really like, made me so happy. And like, I thought like, yes, this is what I really want to do. Then my journey started to look around to see like, where where I can do this course or what I can do about it. And I found Code the Dream once, like I was just Googling and I was like trying to see some courses. In San Francisco, there are many other places like Code Tenderloin is there, Mission Tech is there. But that time, Code Tenderloin and all, they wanted us to be like in person. And I live very far away from there and I can't leave my child and go there. So that was not even an option for me. But then I found Code the Dream. They were very flexible. They said you can do remote, which was like a blessing for me, and it was so nice. So I started Code the Dream with like the very basic like intro to programming. Like in 2021, I started with intro to programming to React, then went into doing the practicum, and then I got into the apprenticeship program. And through after that, I also got through Code the Dream into the SaaS fellowship. And then we were consumed as SaaS employees, so converted to SaaS employees here this year in 2024. So that is my journey. Is there anything I'm missing?
That's awesome. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Vaidehi. I love hearing that all these different ways that people got into tech, like through your school, your child's school's website. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's your start.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, great, thanks. Aster, you are next on my screen. And Aster was one of our first remote students ever, a long time ago now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
glad to see you back today, and maybe you can introduce yourself now.
Thank you, Lori. Yeah, my name is Aster Ghebreyesus. I am from Eritrea. I had been IT experience, which is I graduated in computer engineering back home. When I came here, it was been 10 years from the graduation day of me. So I had been a mom staying home for almost 10 years. When I tried to back to my career, I had a hard time to get a job because, everyone knows in here in ES, if you don't have any experience in ES, it is very tough to find a job. So the 10 years difference in technology also included, it's technology is running every day. So the knowledge that I had before 10 years to find a job, it doesn't help me. So I had been taking courses like different courses on my own, but it doesn't work for me. So at the end of the day, I had been joining Coder Dream through Award Glow. I think it was, when I was joining to Coder Dream, we were three, and the way that the class was, it was rough, to be honest. It was not like the way that the time that Vaidehi and the other students were joining. So we were three, and then I start my journey with Code the Dream with React.js. And the 10 years difference in the technology and React.js is it's very latest language. It was been hard experience to me at that time, but thanks to Coder Dream, they helped us a lot, especially Tom and Andrea. And currently I'm working with, I had been with Coder Dream from the end of 2019 to the beginning of 2003, which is almost 3 years. And then currently I'm working with Chorus, which is a small company under the governmental companies. Yeah, that was my experience. I don't know if I forgot anything.
That's great. That's great. And I love, again, hearing about all the different paths from people who had, studied computer engineering in college previously to people who do not have any college background coming into Code the Dream. It's just a great example of all of the different options that the
Yes.
paths that people take. So I'll turn it over to Cariny now. Yeah, great.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, my name is Cariny. I was at Code the Dream, I think March through June of last year. So like it's been like about a year and a half. I feel like my journey is a little different. I actually was able to land a job as a software engineer in 2021. So like end of 2021, and then I worked there for like a year and a half. But I was really struggling to like land my second job in 2022. So then I decided to do Code the Dream just to kind of like just get some extra skills. So I ended up taking like the Express class. And I feel like it really helped me understand like the full stack side of things. Before, I was technically a full stack engineer, but I mostly did front end at my last company, or like my first company. But I feel like I was really like lacking some of like that deep understanding of like Node and how it works under the hood. So I think that express class really pushed me to like learn more full stack. So after being with Code the Dream for about 3 months, so it was like March through June, I was really lucky to like right as the class was ending, I landed a job at this company called Equips. So they do equipment maintenance solutions, and I've been there for about a year and a half. And I'm a software engineer one. So I was really lucky to land that job, but it did take me a while. I think it took me like 6 to 7 months. So I was just like really happy to land that job. Um, let's see, how did I get into tech? I graduated from undergrad as an economics major. So I did economics. And then I worked in San Francisco for a startup for about like 2 years before deciding it wasn't really for me. I also ended up getting laid off. So it was unfortunate, but I ended up as a software engineer. So yeah, I think, yeah, just decided I really wanted to be a software engineer and just went out there and landed 2 jobs.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And we're so glad to have you back on another panel. It's great to have you. So I want to, I've got a couple questions prepared, and then I hope everyone is storing up their questions and we'll be ready to ask them when we open it up. But I think first of all, I want to ask you all what you love about your current work. See, Danielle, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So not to be, I guess, like that person, but I do really like the people I work with. I do think that really plays a big part in your job, like actually liking the atmosphere, because you're there in it like day in and day out. So I do really like the people. And then besides the atmosphere, one thing I do really love, I guess, just about like the tech field in general, but I mean, I guess my job, but more so like the field, is that in some sense, it kind of is similar to being at Code the Dream, where just like in the tech field, you don't look at one place just for like help. You have the whole generic web to help you. And so that is one thing like I do really love, because there's so many different sources, and like people are, there's new things like every day. So I do really love that we have multiple different ways to find information, and to use that information. I do really like a lot, because sometimes I think some places they only have like one source, whereas for us, we're open to many different sources. And I will say that is something like I really do like about the tech field, but then I guess also specifically my job.
Great. Aster, let me go to you. What do you like about the work that you do?
Of course, yes. The first thing that I like on my job is, you know, the atmosphere. Before you are working on the condition that you have is how is the company? The first thing is it is very stable, and my team is really friendly, especially my boss. Due to that, you know, if your teammates and your boss are super friendly, and that's the major thing. You don't have stress. And at the beginning, to be honest, I was so fear because even though the project that I landed it's a very big project, but the skeleton is React, but all the details is different from the way that I was with Code the Dream, starting from the database. So I was really feel scared at the beginning, but when I talk with them, they are so helpful persons, and they work hand to hand, to be honest. They just help me a lot. So the main thing that it makes me to fall in love is the way that they have the culture, the way that they have. And yeah, the other thing is, if you work hard, it is the same way that you had been from your previous experience. So yeah, the main impression that it makes me, that one is the culture of the company.
Great. Yeah, I know for me that is obvious. It makes a huge difference. Being at Code the Dream, of course, is a wonderful community. It really does make a difference when you come to work for that every day. How about you, Vaidehi? What do you enjoy about your work?
Like in my work, I'll say hello. Yeah, so what I love is like I'm a creative person and I also enjoy problem solving. So I guess in my current job, both these needs are satisfied. So that is one thing I love. Also, as Aster and Danielle has said, that work environment where we are working, it's very important that it's very inclusive, and I'm I'm like, thank God, like, I'm in a very best of place. I can approach anybody when I am in trouble. Asking question is a very key thing, that, and it's a skill that I think everybody should have. Somehow you gain that thing, because it's not like everybody knows everything. So very often we will have to ask questions, or we will have to debug or things, and and other people in your team are like supportive. It becomes very easy, and like, you are in a happy mood, then you can create better things. So those are the things that I really love about being where I am.
And how about you, Cariny?
Yeah, I think what everybody has said, but basically, like, I really like the flexibility. So, like, some days, like, I work in the morning, and some days I work in the afternoon. Some days I wake up and, like, I don't want to code in the morning. So I just, like, sleep in, and, like, I'm able to, like, code after. So I feel like just the flexibility of, like, you can code whenever you want, or I mean, sometimes there's deadlines. So, like, obviously you have to meet deadlines, but just the flexibility of, like, being able to, like, structure your day as long as you're attending meetings. Most of the time, like, nobody really cares, like, when you get your work done, as long as it gets done. I also love the creative aspect of it. So, like, I can't really draw, but, like, to me, like, I can draw using code. So, like, I can create things, but, like, if you gave me a sketch pad, like, I can't draw. But, like, to me, like, I feel creative when I can draw using code. So I feel like sometimes I'm like an artist, especially working in the front end. I'm like, I can create cool things with, like, just like JavaScript on the front end. So sometimes I just, like, enjoy that part of it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you all. I want to divert from my original script that I gave some of you earlier a little bit, because I have a couple questions that have come up for me while you were talking. One, I just want to acknowledge, I love that this is a all women panel. You don't always see that in tech, especially. And so I wanted to ask you all what it's like being a woman, especially being a woman of color in this white male dominated field. What has that been like for you, if you feel comfortable sharing? And what lessons have you learned, or what advice would you have for other people going into that community as a non-majority part of the person in that work culture? And I'll open it up to anyone who feels comfortable starting.
So I will say for me, I was actually really nervous going in, mainly because there's so many like shows and movies that depict what this field looks like, and it doesn't look like us, and just like the stigma. So I was really nervous about that. But I will say like first thing I would do is like to get a mentor, like try to find someone in the company, or even if you are looking for a job, try to find someone in the field that you can identify with, and like talk to them about like how you're feeling in relating to like the tech world and fitting in. Because I do think that really helps, because I do have someone where I work and she looks like me, she's a Black female, and all the time she just asks me how I'm doing. And it's just so nice for her to actually care about me. And then like having those conversations, I think it is important. And especially now with like there being so many different social issues, like I think when you look at companies to apply for, I would definitely look at their like maybe their mission statements and like their culture statements to see if they have something on diversity, to see if that's something they, look for. Or I know some companies, depending if they're like super small, they may even have like a list of people that are in their company, and you can see like if they actually do prioritize diversity. But that is more than just, like physical as well. That can be from like different backgrounds as well. But I do think like finding a mentor has definitely helped. And there's like a lot of Facebook groups as well, that if anyone is on social media, it doesn't even have to be Facebook, that have diverse groups. Like I think I'm a part of Black Girls in Tech, which is on Facebook. And that helped me a lot, and my friend actually like get more comfortable in the field. So there is lots of resources that you can use. And especially like obviously Code the Dream as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that response. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share on that?
Yeah, I just want to point like most of the things what Daniel said, I will just second them. And on top, I just want to add like being a women, especially with responsibility of children and all, I find it like time management was like my really biggest challenge for me. As such, in the place where I am, like SAS, it's very inclusive. And as I said, like, I as a I didn't have any experience where, like, because of my gender, there is some kind of bias, but I observed that, when you have responsibilities and people who don't have responsibilities, they can give more time, they can commit, like, do far more than you are. And you kind of feel like, oh, like, we have the ability to do, but somewhere we are being pulled down because of other things. And then you have to be really hone your skills on time management. And also, like, if you have somebody to mentor or help you, because many people have gone through this, it doesn't matter male female, but if many people have they have gone through this, they can share, like, how they dealt with it. But that is one thing. Time management is what I will want to focus on. Thank you.
Great reflections and great advice. Aster or Cariny would like to weigh in?
Yeah, can I do it after that? There is did you hear the noise, or no, it's okay? Okay. My younger one is starting to disturb, that's why. Yeah, the only thing is that how can you like join the thing that you need or the company you need. But when you go in, all companies have their own way and their own mission and their own culture. So on my own, the project that I was landing it's huge. So when I came to the company, when they told me that I have to work on that project, they just take me piece by piece. I had a monitor, and they give me a little task. They just, piece by piece, because I can't go in. I can't. When I was with Code the Dream, I was working on the biggest project, which is Vamos. I thought it is big project for me, but when I'm landing on my current company, it's really huge to be honest. So I can't do like on time like when I was joining. So they just gave me a monitor. They just set up a monitor for me, and they gave me a task piece by piece. So the main thing that I want to say for anyone who are looking for a job is, the main thing is how to learn to the company, not how you're gonna get the situation of the company when you are getting, but just you have to think how can you learn to the company first, because the companies have their own culture. It might be the same, it might be different. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, like I found tech to be pretty inclusive, which sounds kind of like a paradox because like, tech used to be like male dominated, but I feel like in recent times it's become more inclusive. I'm lucky to have like a very diverse team, so it's like my team is pretty diverse. It's still male dominated, but this is my first team didn't have like a woman team member, but this team has like two of us. So I think it's pretty inclusive. The only thing I have noticed between like just like men and women is that I feel like men tend to like dominate more conversations and have more of an opinion. So like for me, like even though it is inclusive, I feel like I still have to push myself to be like have more of an opinion. I just find that guys like tend to feel more comfortable like communicating. So I feel like for me, like it's when I see team members, like I like to speak up so that like in turn they also feel, more included in conversations, because I feel like we just tend to not speak up as much. So I feel like for me, that's something I try to be mindful of, that I'm having an opinion and contributing to conversations.
Thank you so much, all of you. What great reflections, and Cariny, yes, what great takeaways also. Women speak up, men make sure you're asking your female colleagues for their voices that are included as well. I think one more question I'll ask you before we open it up to the group. This is also going off script a little bit, but I'd love to know in this field, I think several of you mentioned earlier, one of the exciting things about tech is that there is always sort of something new, and you're never stopping, right? There's just always more to learn. So what do you all do to kind of keep up to keep abreast of new skills, and how do you continue that learning process even when you're now, at your jobs? Is that something that you get time to do at your job, or is that something you have to do and other time, or how do you keep up that continuous learning? And I'll open it up to anyone who wants to respond.
Hi. So I think for continuous learning has been like both blessing and challenge for me from day one of since I joined this company, because there were so many new stacks here that I had no idea about, and we had to learn on scratch. And even today, like and in my current job, like I have been shifting projects. So it's like 6 months I'm in one project, then after that I'm moved to another project, so every project comes with its again new nuances. Their coding practices are different, everything. So you learn and you have to, but the only thing is it's like not a class or a school where you learn and then you have a time to execute. It's like you learn and you apply it, learn and apply, and you have to be. That is one thing with IT. I have this industry in general is that you have to be on your toes. You have to learn. You have to be there, like every time you have to learn the new stuff. And to some extent the company also is providing us. They keep like in our emails they keep sending us like new stuff, like this is the new thing that you want to look at. Or there are many groups in within my company where they discuss new things. So then not everybody goes, you need to read, but like if you join that group chat or like the discussions, then you can learn about like what are the new things. And I take some courses. I did take a Python course and other courses on Udemy, so that I had to do like on my own and watch YouTube in my spare time. And as I said again, the time management, I had to, like, I have to do it. Like, there is, like, everything is like, you have to, it's a way, you have to weigh. But it's a good thing. It's in a good way because you are current, which is very important. It's not just IT industry. I think about even finance industry or any industry. If you're not current, like, it becomes hard for you. So I feel that is the way I learn. Yeah. And also
Yeah.
you can join meetups, like, there are like meetups. I attended one of the meetups where, like, in Bay Area, that was related to AI. So that was also helpful. Like, I got, like, in short, like, because of the presentation we got, and I could network with many people. That is another way of keeping yourself current. When you have friends who are who already has reading knowledge, so they can, you can just go to them like a library and get to know the current things. So yeah.
Great, thank you. Aster, I think you were gonna
Yeah,
say-
I thought, but he was done. Yeah, from my experience, IT means it's always keep learning for me. Because it is fast growing and fast runner. So always you have to keep updated and keep learning. And I most of the time use Udemy for updating my learning experience. And also there is, which is different from the culture that I am growing back home, which is in America, if you want thing, you have to ask. I adapt this culture after a long period of time, to be honest, because the culture that I grown up is totally different from here. So if you ask, you can get many information, either from your teammates or whatever the person you want to ask to learn a new thing. I learned a new technology when I moved from Cuddle Dream to the company that I'm working now. It was like 3 or 4 language, which is totally different from my experience. So I have to keep learning every day, every second. But the good thing for IT is, if you have a know-how always, it's not that much challenging, to be honest. So when you have an IT uh, information, it is, it is today's, there is YouTube, there is Udemy, different kind of websites to learn, so you can catch up. So you have not to feel fear from my experience. So yeah, that's it.
Great, thank you. Danielle or Cariny, anything you'd like to add about how you continue learning?
I would just say that it's both on the clock and outside the clock. I mean, obviously you need to have balance, in terms of, work-life balance. But I think I would say it's pretty much impossible not to do it on, like, to work on new skills on the clock, because a lot of what we do as developers, a lot of times it may be something new, or maybe we're not familiar with it. So trying to complete your task, you have to actually learn how to do it. So I learned how to do it for the task, but then outside of work, I'll definitely try to perfect those skills, and like also see like maybe if there's a more simple way. For example, like I know, for example, Redux. It's something I knew about. Like I think we touched a little about it in the React course, but I've been working a lot with it heavily with my current day work. And so in order to get my tasks done, I have to like research videos and to ask different people like how to accomplish this task so I can accomplish the task. But I also want to do my homework outside so I can get better at it and like understand how like the insides and outside work.
Yeah, I agree with Danielle. Like it's really impossible to like be a developer and not be learning on the clock. But I find that you can also be like proactive. So like for example, like I've noticed that in the last 3 months, I've been dealing a lot of like database stuff and like SQL, and like I'm being more like reactive of like, oh, now I have to like learn how to do this. So like my plan for the next 3 months is to do like a tutorial on like databases and like SQL, just so I can be a little more proactive on those skills, because they keep showing up and I keep feeling like I'm not like it's a weakness that I have. So I keep seeing that. So I'm choosing to be more proactive, and like how I'm proactive, I usually just do tutorials, and it takes me like usually like up a month to complete that. So like when I learned React on my own, I did a tutorial on Udemy. I was like 3 months long. It probably took me like 3 months. But once I completed it, like I noticed a difference of like how much I learned. So I'm planning to do the same, and hopefully it pays off, because I've been dealing with a lot of like database stuff, and I feel like my skills are not where I want them to be.
Oh, this is so great. Thank you all so much. I'm about to open it up for questions. There's already been a lot of great questions coming in the chat that I've been making note of. I would like to give our audience members a heads up that I'm about to change it to gallery view, and I would love for you all to turn on your cameras. So I'm giving you a little heads up of this before I do that. But I just wanted to thank you all so much. Some of the takeaways that I've heard from you all and what you've been saying are to, in terms of the continued learning, ask your company, see what's available, pursue on your own through YouTube, Udemy. As someone mentioned, never pay full price in the chat there for Udemy courses. Be proactive in your learning. Great advice. From Cariny. I heard from Vaidehi the importance of time management, especially as a working parent, how important that is. I heard from Aster, if you want something, you have to ask. I love that. What great advice, and to really find the company culture that you want. I've heard about, seeking out that support, seeking out mentorship. Great advice from Danielle. And then also from Cariny, speaking up yourself and making sure that your voice is heard. So what wonderful takeaways so far. All right, I'm going to turn this to a gallery view so we can see everyone. And now I'm going to open it up to questions. Let's see. Lawrence has asked some great questions in the chat. Just because to make sure we have time for everyone, Lawrence, I wonder if you'd like to come off mute and choose one of your questions to start with.
Yeah, I think the imposter syndrome question has been kind of addressed. Well, I don't know. There's somebody else that wanted more about it. So
okay, great. So yeah, we can do that. I can read the questions. I have it here. So yeah, Lawrence was asking originally asked, how do you deal with imposter syndrome when you encounter something you don't know? And then I think it was Alina who had the follow-up question. Alina, I don't know if you're there and you want to ask it aloud, or I can read it. Okay, I'll go ahead and ask it. Was a follow-up on this. How do you differentiate between imposter syndrome and a genuine lack of knowledge and experience? What a great question. So do you all have any reflections on that, our panelists? It's a hard one.
I think, to be honest, like every time I start something new, this is very common. Even though, like, however strong I, like, you try to keep yourself, like, but this is going to continue. It's, they say, like, when you are doing the best, this is what I read somewhere, like when you're doing the best, you tell yourself you are not, like, everybody keeps telling you like, oh, you are the best, you are the best, but you know yourself like you're not that best. When you're bad, when everybody tells you you're bad, but you know for yourself that you are not that bad. So it's the mindset, and you have to keep your focus on your goal, that this is what I want to achieve, and ignore all the other voices. That is the best thing that I have learned to do. And if I don't know, I don't know. I have to accept the fact that I don't know, but then I am ready to go and learn. As I said, like, it's continuous learning experience. So nobody is going to like, hang you for like not knowing, as long as you are showing that attitude of going, doing it. So that is the best thing. And not the, like, I in my opinion, the most successful people that I have seen, they're not always like the super, like they are the talented kind of thing, but they have the best attitude. And attitude is the key here. You have to have that growth mindset and positive attitude, focus on your goal.
Great advice. Do any of our other panelists want to chime in? Danielle, I think you were unmuting. It looked like you were going to unmute.
Oh yeah. So I will say imposter syndrome is something that I struggled with a lot, and not saying I'm overcoming, because sometimes it can still be difficult, but I think that can also just mainly be because well, for a lot of us, we're going into a new field, or like different career changes, different life, where now you're on this new path. But I think the main thing to remember is like the facts. And I think that's kind of what helps like combat that like anxiety of imposter syndrome, is that like sometimes in your head you're thinking, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna like figure this problem. I don't know. And it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. But like one of my managers likes to say is like, you're already doing it, So it's like that step of confidence that's takes you like makes you take it one step at a time to give you that positive self-talk. And then I also think being comfortable with asking for help. I know it sounds so cliche and like so just simple, but it really does matter. And because there's no reason for you to be on something for multiple days, when if you just ask someone a question, they could help you in a couple of minutes. And I think that's definitely something to learn soon and learn fast. And then for Elena's question, the difference between imposter syndrome and lack of experience, in my opinion, I do think that what is it, imposter syndrome most of the time stems from lack of experience. Like that's pretty much, I would say, like the root, because even if you say it's like comparison or any other factors, it's really pretty much rooted in that like lack of experience. But that's not like a handicap, because lack of experience just means like you haven't been exposed to it yet. So you just need to figure out what those tools are, and or someone to help you find those tools, and then you can go ahead and continue to learn. And I think that will help your positive mindset as well. But also positive self-talk is definitely a game changer. Like your head is a bad place sometimes. So I think talking it out and like talking it out with other people, like definitely helps. Like collaboration is definitely something you all should do. And I do it on the regular. And yeah.
Yeah, again, I agree with Danielle. Danielle, you have really good points today. Like for me, I feel like even though I'm a software engineer one, if I were to like compare myself to like other software engineer ones, like they probably like a traditional background, probably went to like undergrad for 4 years, and then probably was like an associate software engineer for a couple years. So let's say they have like 6 years of experience and I've only been coding for 4. So like I feel like for me, imposter syndrome comes down to like comparing yourself to others. So like if I were to compare myself to like other software engineer ones, like I probably would have more imposter syndrome. So whenever I feel like I'm an imposter, I try to remind myself like how far I've come and compare myself only to myself. So when I'm able to like see my journey as my own and not as like how I'm doing in a race against others, like I feel pretty good about myself. It's only when I compare myself to my coworkers or like other people, like then I feel pretty bad. but yeah, I would say just like being able to like see your journey and not compare yourself to others helps a lot.
I love this kind of distinction between the lack of experience versus the lack of ability. And that, you know, you are doing it, you know, what one of your managers says, well, you know, you're doing it now. So I think those are great points. And Oksana has a great point in the chat here. If you learn something new and you gain skills today, that means you're better than you have been yesterday. So don't compare yourself with someone else, compare yourself with you yesterday. Great. All right. There's still lots and lots of good questions. I want to skip around a little bit and get to Mo's question because I think this is great. And that is, tell us what a typical day looks like in your current role. Who would like to share?
Yeah, it is most of the time, if you guys are working on with Code the Dream right now, or from others, I don't know. But it is most of the time, it is the company culture is similar. The only difference is, you know, it's a little bit difference. It's not that much difference. Maybe they can differ in the language that they use, but the way, if you are working from remote, like what you had with Code the Dream, it is similar for me, to be honest. So the only thing like you have to be focused is how to join the company. Unless in the otherwise, when you are in the company, it is you know, it's been similar experience. So for me, I was working with Code the Dream remotely, and then I work remotely even now too, the same. So it has been having the same thing. Yeah.
Aster, just to follow up a little bit, do you have like a Scrum every day? Do you have to work at specific hours, or is it more like Cariny described with a more flexible schedule? Do you have sprints? Like, yeah, and what?
Yeah, like the Karina explained it, always if you are remote, you are flexible most of the time. The only thing is that when you have to submit your work, you have to submit it. And yeah, the schedule is flexible. I have 3 days daily meeting and 1 demo day in a week, depend on the manager needed most of the time. But it's the same way. Always it's the same way. They have demo, they have meeting monthly, and daily meeting. It depend on the manager's setup. Like before I had 2, now I have 3, so it could be changed, but most of the time it is the same. Yeah.
Thank you. How about others? What's your day today look like?
Yeah, I agree with Aster. So we work in 2-week sprints. So we have the typical ceremonies. So like a typical day, like I wake up and we have like a stand-up meeting or like some sort of meeting. So we work in 2-week sprints. And we have like stand-up, we have like monthly demos. We have like show and tell, which is basically like just like developers showing other developers cool things that we did. So yeah, from the 2 companies that I've worked, it's been pretty standard, some sort of like 2-week sprint. Yeah, so pretty much what Aster said.
Danielle or Vaidehi, Vaidehi, go ahead.
Yeah, for me again, it is so different from every team to team, but on a core, it is the same thing like other companies are doing. Like you have a stand-up meeting, you have a demo meetings, and then you're looking at your ticket. You know what you need to do. If you have to talk to other team, like the designer or anybody else, you collaborate with them and you're coding, and that's it. But like my previous project, we were meeting only twice a week for the daily stand up, and the current project, it's like every day they have a daily stand up. And the very beginning, they had no stand up. There was only once a week meeting. So you see, like within the company, but different teams, they have their different ways. And and of course, I'm also remote working, so I have that flexibility of time. However, most of my team is like East Coast. So for me, like, it's like all early morning. I have to like, to match up all the timings, like 7 o'clock in the morning. I have those daily Scrum meetings. And the new team that we have now, like that, most of the members are in India, they are in Beijing. So it's like, it's like a global team. So we have to match up like the time which is convenient for everybody. So sometimes my meetings are even like 5 o'clock in the morning. And it's crazy. So because everybody has a different, or there were times when I have to wait back, and like in the late night I have to sometime meet with somebody like 11 o'clock in my 11 o'clock, so then it is convenient for them, us, like it's like you do. But then you can adjust your time, like okay, I'm going to meet somebody and work like say 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, like 2 hours. Then during the day you can cut it out, like there is no such nobody's holding you. That is, I think, the blessing of IT industry, that you have that flexibility of time.
Great. Thank
But
you
yeah,
for sharing that.
yeah.
I wanna move us along because we're
Yeah.
almost at time. And I wanted to acknowledge Alina shared a really important message in the chat, I think. So I'm gonna read this and then ask for you all to share, our panelists to share finally, what is your final advice for Code the Dream students and apprentices as they begin in their careers. But Alina mentions the more you learn, the easier it gets. There's no way to quickly learn something new, like a new project or technology, but the more you learn, the quicker you find out your way out from every situation. And over time, you're just not scared of anything. But if you're looking for the easy way out today, not much changes over time. This is Alina's experience. She says, I want you to be prepared to be stuck, to struggle from time to time, but it's totally fine, and you'll be surprised how much you will evolve. I love that advice. I think that's great. And so given that, I would like for the four panelists to share their last comment, words of advice to our audience here. And whoever wants to go first can start.
Yeah, so I recently went to Vegas, and I feel like this like stuck with me for so long. But like, so I went to Vegas, and I didn't know how to play. Well, I know how to play blackjack, but like I didn't really know how to play until I went to like Las Vegas, and the dealer gave me some advice that I feel like it's applicable to a lot of things. And she said that the most important thing in blackjack is to stay in the game. And to me, the most important thing in being a software engineer is to stay in the game. So I feel like when I was unemployed for 6 months, like I still found a way to stay in the game. And my way to stay in the game was being a part of like Code the Dream. So like I just encourage anyone that wants to be a software engineer to just like find creative ways to stay in it. I know it's really hard sometimes, like when you're like applying to jobs and you're not like getting an offer, but just like finding ways to like make sure that you stay in, because if you're not in, what the dealer said is like, if you're not in the game, you cannot win. So just like make sure to like stay in it.
Great, great advice. Aster, what is your parting advice today?
Yeah, the main thing is consistency, when you need to do something, you have to be consistent. So, and then motivated. When you are trying to search a job, you have not to feel frustrated. When you have applied for a job for 1 week, you have to have a schedule until this week's. I have to post my resume or I have to search. If nowadays, especially for the resume, it's not being selected by human beings, it's selected by computers. So when you are submitted for a week, if you didn't get any response, you have to revise your resume. You have to stick and you have to keep posting, and you have to be communicated with some people who are being good on such kind of resume writers or something like that. And the main thing is consistency, and you have to be flexible for that too.
Great, thank you so much. Go ahead, Vaidehi.
Hi, I would say, like, since we all are, most of us, I know we all are here with we have chosen the alternate career path. So so we are already here because we are passionate about it, and that's what keeping us here. So keep with that growth mindset, that passion, and believe in yourself. Like, no matter what, you need to love yourself, you need to trust in yourself, and the process is just the game of opportunity. So when it comes, take it and be patient with it, and it will happen if you have the positive attitude.
Bring us home, Danielle. What's your
Oh my gosh, I feel like the stakes are high now. Cariny should have went last, but it's okay. I'll say my biggest advice would be to collaborate, just in many sorts of the word. Like, you really don't know who's in your like inner circle until you like reach out to people. Like, word of mouth is so powerful in terms of like finding a job, especially with like LinkedIn and different social groups. Like the social group that I was talking about, the Black girls in tech. There's so many like those, and so many groups that post about jobs in the tech field. And like, that's how I found out about like a different boot camp, and then that led me to Code the Dream. And so like, word of mouth is so powerful in terms of finding a job, but then also just seeing like, oh, well, maybe there's different opportunities. Like, people at Code the Dream, most of the time they'll ask you if you want to become a mentor. Say yes. Say yes is also like definitely something you should have in your vocabulary. Even though you're nervous, like I was nervous to do this, but saying yes like definitely helps you move forward. Like, you can ask different small organizations if there's anything you can do to like maybe help their website, and that'll like help with your resume and give you like more skills. So I think collaboration is like such a big skill, especially also when you're like in meetings, like having to talk more. Like, that definitely helps you be seen and noticed. And so like, when you talk to other people, people will know that like you're looking for, a change in your career. So then even if they may not have like a job for you, maybe they can look in their circle and think, oh, maybe John down the road has something that could be good for you. And so a little bit goes a long way. So I would definitely reach out to people. Don't be afraid to put it on your social media. Don't be afraid to ask family or different groups. I think that goes a long way. And I'll stop talking now. So
That's awesome.
all.
Thank you all so much. You're all so inspiring. We're so grateful. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your words of inspiration. Just to reiterate a few of the things that I heard there at the end, stay in the game from Cariny. Excellent. Aster says, be consistent and stay motivated. Vaidehi shares, keep the passion, keep that growth mindset, love and trust yourself no matter what. And from Danielle, we hear the importance of collaboration, building your network, and saying yes. Beautiful. Thank you all so much. So grateful to have you part of our Code the Dream community. Thank you all, everyone, for staying a little extra time. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day and weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Lori, and everybody else.
Yep. Bye. Thanks so much. This was great.
Thank you. Thank you.